Mine.
Simon and Andrew from Brand New Heavies, welcome to the Peace Hall.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much.
What do you think of the place, Simon?
Well, you know, I've heard this place was like epic, and it really is. You know, you come from the back of the stage, you walk up the steps, and it's a big old place. It's amazing.
It's a big stage and a beautiful courtyard, Andrew.
It's a lovely courtyard. And I've noticed, I haven't been to Halifax before, lots of stone.
Yeah.
It's very stony and very old, and I love that. And it was very famous for wool, the production of fabric and textiles.
That's right.
And I'll be talking about that next week on my Open University channel.
It's a perfect summer's evening for a Brand New Heavies show, right, Simon?
Well, it was raining hard in London, but it's cleared up a bit, which is great news, especially for Niall, who we supported recently, and I got my 12-inch of Le Freak, Freak Out, and Good Time signed by him.
Amazing.
So I've read his book, it's really good, and so I'm freaking out.
Andrew, it's 35 years since your self-titled debut album. What do you remember about the very beginnings of the band, and indeed meeting Simon for the first time?
Well, I've met Simon quite many years ago. I'm going to say, because it's quite nice, actually 47 years ago.
And days and seconds, days, minutes and seconds.
We went to high school together and went to art school together, and we spent most of our lives together. And if we go back to the sort of mid to late 80s, when we started jamming and creating our sound and going to rehearsal studios and just developing our sound, those are the best days in a way, because when there's no mortgage, no kids, so you're really doing music just for the fun of it. There's no reason to do it apart from just having fun. And any bands out there that are starting up, just enjoy the early days. Don't just think of being on the stage at Glastonbury or somewhere like that. Just enjoy making music and having fun and, you know, having a laugh, basically.
Those creative days for you turned into a whole genre. You were there at the very foundation of acid jazz. Did you know what you were doing?
No idea. I couldn't even play the bass. I still can't. The thing is, we used to just say yes and then learn how to do it after, because it was so fast, the whole acid jazz movement, and it wasn't even called acid jazz when we started. It was like a genre that was developed, and we managed to slot into it. But
in fact, I've got a little story about acid jazz. Because basically acid house came out, so there was the funk scene had started in London, like the rare groove scene, all the kind of records that hip hop guys eventually started sampling, and people were finding these records in America that had been almost left behind in history. Anyway, the acid house scene had come out. There's a place called the Waterman's Art Centre in Brentford, and Chris Bangs was DJing there, who's a sort of a dude of the funky scene. And they were playing this acid house, and everyone was really dancing. They're like, oh no, because they were going to play funk, you know. And they put on Iron Leg by Mickey and the Soul Generation. I'm going to play it right now after the break. And they messed around with this sort of sound at the beginning, you know, and they said over the mic, that was acid house, this is acid jazz. And that's where the name came from. It was a sort of anathema to the acid house scene, which is like burgeoning at the time. And then the label got called Acid Jazz. They used a smiley face logo and drew a beard on it. Do you remember? I don't know if you... So it was a sort of like...
That's a great story. I didn't know all of that.
That's the provenance.
And have you always enjoyed being at the forefront of that genre?
We actually...
Particularly myself, yes. I feel that I...
God. We actually... You know what? We really were a very individual band. We weren't into doing covers and making. We weren't so much into the sort of copying the stuff from the rare groove, copying the stuff from the 70s. We were into creating new songs, but using that musical genre. And we just saw ourselves a bit more individual rather than just being hacking up the past. So when we were called an acid jazz band, we kind of pushed it back, didn't we? We didn't want to be sort of labelled like that, because we wanted to cross over, we wanted to be pop, and we did. We had 16 top 30 singles or whatever.
Maybe we just say you sold out, and we just sold.
No, we're just selling. We sold 2.5 million albums, and for a little acid jazz band from Ealing, we did okay. But now we're really happy that we're classed as an acid jazz band because lots of people know the genre, and we get booked all over the world as an acid jazz band. So,
and one of the beautiful things about the genre, and people who get into like the Brand New Heavies or other acid jazz bands, is you discover, jazz itself and the acts that sort of inspired us, James Brown and Herbie Hancock and Earth, Wind and Fire, whoever it is, who were sort of around when we were kids. But then there's like deeper music, like the more jazz stuff, like Gary Bartz, he's good.
Andrew Hill, Miles Davis.
And so it's a gateway drug, acid jazz to other jazz and stuff like that, and a good one. It's healthy, yeah. So I'm quite proud of that, because I discovered it myself. We were discovering that music ourselves when we heard it all, first of all, because originally it was called the rare groove scene, and DJs were finding records in America. Like one DJ said he went out to a small radio station somewhere in the States, and he said, "Can I look in your basement? There's a record, like 5 copies of it, made by a local band, otherwise just probably thrown out eventually when digital came along." And that's what people were doing. So people were playing records and covering up the labels because everyone wanted to have a unique record, So
it's a little like the way that Northern Soul landed in the UK.
Yes. And apparently there's a record shop in King's Cross. I'm like an old boring dad, aren't I? I am an old boring dad. And they sold lots of soul records and stuff. It might have been Mole Jazz in King's Cross. I'm not totally sure. But a lot of people would come from the north to buy records. So he just put the stuff he knew they were buying into a box and called it Northern Soul. That's one idea of why it's called Northern Soul. Yeah. The other one is it comes from the more the north of America. But I don't know if that's true. I think it comes from all over America.
Yeah, I think that the former story, is most accurate, I think.
Yeah.
I think
it's an English term, isn't it? It's not an American term for it.
I think it also has something to do with football fans coming from the north to London and going home with records. And then the scene kind of emerged in the north of England at places like Wigan Casino.
I went on a miniature railway in Somerset recently.
Have we just gone off at a massive tangent?
No, this is the tangent.
Brand New Heavies and get ready.
And they used to have 2 carriages for the football fans, and they would just get completely smashed up. That back in the 70s, which is probably why I didn't like football, because I was skinny and I would have got destroyed.
Andrew.
But if you're carrying those jazz records, back to the jazz, see? You don't want to get them broken on a train full of football thugs. Thank you.
47 years of this marriage between the two of you.
This man, I think it's...
Aside from selling millions of records, what have been the very best of times for you in the Brand New Heavies?
Do you know what there's little moments, because we've met Stevie Wonder and Diana Ross and all these, Quincy Jones, all these incredible people. Even George Michael, I was impressed by meeting, and Prince. He used to come to lots of our shows and hang out. We used to go on stage, and he just used to appear at the very side of the stage, and come up and shake our hands. James Brown watches our shows. Even Niles watches our shows. So it's things like that, and that we kind of look at each other on stage sometimes and think, is this actually happening when we're doing these massive shows all over the world? And the fact that we grew up together, and we grew up as just two guys at school.
It's a beautiful thing.
We're doing all this stuff still after all this time. It's a very, very nice thing. But it's all the little things, I think, that really make it special for us.
How many in the band at last count?
On stage, there's 9 now.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yes, so my bank manager says the same thing.
Half the band, more money.
Well, we supported Niall a couple of months ago, and he came to watch a couple of bit at the end because he heard the band. He was after he said, "Well, you're a real live band because you don't use any sort of, like clicks and stuff off tape, which you need to use in certain circumstances." But we are still playing live, and we still jam on the stage and get things wrong and all that. And that's the energy in it, I think, as well.
Yeah, it's very endearing. I think people like the vulnerability of... Because we're trying to... playing the same songs, not the same songs, playing the songs for 30 years. We just change a little bits here and there. We don't tell each other.
Oh, right.
And we just have to try and catch up and keep up with it,
This guy, someone ending, he'll go, what's that? Enjoy it. He can't help himself.
Yeah.
Entertaining yourselves as well as the fans.
Yes, exactly.
Is there going to be new music?
Do you know what?
Always.
Yes. there's a lot of.
We're going to say there is new music coming forever.
There has to be. We've got a deadline of delivering a new album in October, coming out in March.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a great show tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You're watching Six Music with the Brand New Heavies.